Hey everybody, Mike here in the BFH garage. Behind me I have a 2015 Jeep JK, and I'm going to cover a topic today that's a widely known issue with the JK, but there's just not a whole lot of information out there on the web on how to make some of these repairs. You'll find one part over here, one part over there, and it's kind of a struggle to learn what you need to do to get this problem resolved. Today I'm talking about the blend door actuator. These JKs have three of them. There's one on the driver's side, there's one on the passenger side, and there's one in the center, and they're all located behind the dashboard. Now, these blend door actuators, you can tell when they're going bad because they make this obnoxious clicking sound. It's click, 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 click. You'll hear it. It is just over the top. You'll know it when you hear it. Now, to figure out which one you need to replace, I encourage you to sit in your driver's seat, sit in your passenger seat, and then take a real close listen to your dashboard to see whether it's coming from left or right. Now, I can't say that most of the time the passenger side blend door actuator is the one that will go out and give you problems. The bad thing about that is that is the one that is the most difficult to get to replace. That is why I'm making this video. I want to show you how to do that. What I would call the easiest way is still not easy. In fact, the job is so easy. All you have to do is remove two screws, pull it out, replace it, put it back. Now, that sounds super easy, but when you see the limited access you're going to have to that passenger side, you're going to realize that this is a really, really tough job just because of the limited access. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to play a couple videos here that let you hear that clicking sound so you know if it matches up with the problem you're having. I'd hate to have to get you all the way into the dashboard to figure out that that wasn't your problem. So take a listen to these, and this is what you're dealing with. Very limited space in here to work, so trying to film and work at the same time is pretty tough. So I'm going to kind of give you a quick rundown on what we need to do. We're going to remove this cover. There's another metal plate behind that one. There's a module up there that you're going to have to take out. You have to take out the module bracket. You have to disconnect a couple wires. You need to remove a duct vent. Then you'll have access to that blend door actuator. So we're going to start by first removing this center kick plate here. And this just pops straight out. There's no screws or anything that holds it in. You just kind of do that, pull it out, and it comes out just like that. Now behind that, you're going to see that you have two 10mm bolts right here. You remove those, and this black plate right here, you got to lift up to get it out of the slot. It pops right out. Okay, looking in behind where that kick plate was, you can see you have a module here. Now you have two plug-ins, one right here, one right here. These got to come out. You can either do it before or after. It doesn't matter. It's not really that difficult. To get the module out though, you're going to see a snap piece right here. So I'll put the tip of the screwdriver right there, and that piece needs to get pushed down. So you could either use a screwdriver and kind of to pry it just enough to pop that out, or you can use your finger. So you can see I got that popped out right there. Now if I reach around to the back side, I can do that one by hand. And then eventually it pops right out just like that. Now I got to get the plugs out, and that's as simple as depressing the locking tab there and pulling the plugs out. Again, access is your biggest issue. There's one, and there's the other. That's what that looks like. That comes straight out. Now, the next thing we need to do is get the actual bracket out of here. Now, there's going to be a screw up top, and there's going to be a screw kind of on the back side of this down in there. So if you get an extension, you put it back there, you'll get that thing out nice and easy. Now, these are both 8mm, and the easiest way to get to them is with a long extension, 8mm socket. And I use an impact. It just makes it easy to not have to manipulate any type of handle on anything. That one's out. And then there's one up top right there. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Get a flashlight, take a look in there. They're not hidden too bad. You can kind of see them, and then you'll know how they come out. Now this bracket pops straight out. Okay, so right here, that is your blend door actuator for your driver's side. This wire right here will be in the way. It's not part of it, but it's in the way, so just disconnect it, get it out of the way. And then you're going to see another tab right there with the wire attached to it. And that does go to your blend door actuator. And all you have to do is detent that tab, pull that wire straight back that way, and it will pop out of there. I can't do it at the same time as I'm trying to film because there's just no room to work. So with that other wire out of the way, I just went ahead and pushed the detent. That wire pulls straight out. And you can get it with a screwdriver. It's fairly straightforward. So you take the tip of your screwdriver, you put it there on that, push it, and then it pops right out. Okay, there's a couple different ways you can do this now. As you can see, you have a Phillips head screw here, and you have a Phillips screw head up here. That's the only thing holding in the blend door actuator. So I can take those two screws out, I can finagle the blend door actuator out, not a problem. You can even reinsert it that way, but the problem lies in the fact that the blend door actuator has an arm, and there's a little pin that needs to ride in a gear channel. So when you put it back in, you need to look from underneath here. You could either get a little scope or something like that, or a flashlight. You could even see where that gear thing is from right here. It's that white plastic thing in the background. That's the black hole there. That's not where that pin goes, but there's a groove above that it goes into. So you can try to look up from there either with a mirror, or like I said, a little camera scope or something like that. If not, the other option is you can remove this ducting right here. So you see how it moves fairly easily. Behind up here, there's a kind of a pinch bolt that just holds it in place. It's not really a bolt, it's just a pinch hole that holds it in place. You pry that off, this entire thing comes off. Be careful, it's in two pieces, so if it comes apart, that's not a big deal. Just make sure you put it back together when you reinstall it. So either way works. Pulling the duct work creates a little bit of extra work to put it all back together, but it does allow you to see the entire blend door mechanism, and that might be the better way to go. But it can be done from this position. All right, you can see here where I have the duct work out. It has a lip here. There's a little square hole here that there's a detail on the back side. So when this thing is up and in there like that, you want to pull this way, and it will come out. You don't have to remove dash or anything like that. There's nothing that holds it on the bottom side, but it does take quite a bit of force. As you're doing that, you get one hand up on this side, the other one from behind the dash, and you start wiggling and pulling that, it will pop out. With the two screws out now, you can just pull the blend door actuator right out. Now, taking a look inside there, here's your blend door. That's the arm that controls your blend door, so that can go up and down. And that is what the back side of that arm rides on. And then you have your mounting holes up here. Now, there are some guides up here you're going to see. When you go to put this thing back together, it has to fit over everything perfectly to get back on there. As you can see here, I have both blend door actuators. I have the old one over here. I have the new one over here. One thing you need to take note is what direction this arm is in. And then you're going to notice on the new one here, if you look up close, you see how there's a tooth missing right there. And then you're going to see this little line right there, how it lines up to the center of that. Well, we want to make sure that that other one is lined up the same way. So remember your angle of this, because you can get off by a tooth and it may affect the blend door. I'm not exactly 100% sure on that. So I'm going to set this one over on this one in the same position. And then when I bring this one up here, I want to make sure that you see how the tooth is on that same spot. This one has 3 lines. The new one has 1 line. This is the way this one come out, so that's the way I'm going to put that one in. We're going to do it just like that, and that makes sure everything's consistent, and it'll operate that blend door without getting into a bind and breaking gears. Now, to put this back together, it's just a matter of getting up here, lining everything up into your slots. Remember, you got to have that tab up there that's got to go. And I can't do this one-handed, so I'm not even going to try, but eventually you're going to get that set in there, and then I'm going to pull this out so you can see that pin right there needs to ride in that guide of your blend door arm right there. So make sure you get inside that guide and that everything works. Once you get those 2 screws back in, what I would do is power the vehicle back up, run it through the cycle to make sure that it is working properly, because you don't want to find out after you get everything put back together that it's not working right. Just as a heads up, some of the struggles you might face while trying to put this ductwork back in here. This thing here, you see how it kind of bends out a little bit? Well, that ductwork needs to go up. So if you try to push it and it's not snapping into place, it needs to go up more. So start back here, kind of pull this up and out of the way. You could even probably remove that if you need to, and push that up, and then it'll just snap right into place. You shouldn't have to force it to get it to snap in place. Before we put our backing plate on for the module, don't forget you want to connect this wire that was in the way of pulling the blend door actuator out. So make sure you connect that, make sure you hear it lock into place. Next, we're going to install the backing plate for the controller. Now, if you look at that real quick, it has a tab right there. It's a locating tab. So when you go to put this up here, you see this hole way up here. That's where that locator tab goes. So as you put this thing back up here, that locating tab goes there, and then the plate will fall into position there. Get your 8mm screws, secure that in place. With the mounting place in position and screwed in, the easiest way to do this is to just take your module, get up in a position, and snap it into place. Make sure you get both sides. You hear that tab lock, just like that. Then come back in and you could install the plugs, and they'll get right up in there. Again, one hand, there we go. I say one hand of this kicking my butt. Make sure you hear them lock. That one locked, come back, get this one. That one locks, that's all secured in place. Now all we have to do is put on the cover door here and then the kick plate. Put this on. The good news is we are done with the passenger side. The bad news is that was the easy part. Well, I think the first thing you noticed is I didn't use a whole lot of curse words on that other side, because that's not the hard side. This passenger side is going to drive you nuts here, and you'll see why in just a second. One of the best things you can do for this is when you open your door, remove the strap down here at the bottom so you can unplug that wiring harness and swing this thing completely out of your way, because you're going to be working right in this general area, and not a whole lot of room to work in, but that certainly helps. So let's start taking apart that dashboard, and I'll show you how to do that. Part of your access here is going to be pulling off this side panel. If you push in here, you can see how you start to get a little bit of a, we'll call it a purchase point right here. You can take a screwdriver or a dash removal tool, and you can just start pulling that back. Now in here, the only thing that holds this piece on are going to be these little snaps right here. So there's no screws or anything. Just push in, get yourself a little hole, pull it straight out. Next is going to be to remove the glove box. You do that by simply opening up the glove box, let it open up. The release, or not the release, but the hinge stops right here. If you just push it on the side of the glove box, you get that one to pop out, you get that one to pop out, then your glove box comes right off. Now what we're trying to do here is create some space for this to come back, because we're going to have to get this speaker out of here. And in order to do that, you have just a regular threaded 7mm screw here, you have one right here, and you have one right here. Remove those, and then this dash part will kind of pull back just about like that. You can't pull too hard or you're going to end up breaking it. So you can see how you get a little bit of wiggle room there, but you don't want to pull too hard and break it. That dashboard, I wish Jeep would make these things in 3 pieces, one for the passenger, one for the driver, and then the center, but this is the way it is. This is what we have to work with, and it is not fun. Removal of the speaker is pretty straightforward. You have a wiring harness in here that plugs your speaker in. It's a simple push tab, disconnect the wire, and then right underneath here, you have a 10mm bolt. You pull that out, and then you have these 2 7mm screws right here. Your speaker then will just push over to the side and come out through your glove box, just like this. See, that wasn't that easy. So I'm gonna start up by telling you right now, in order to work back here, one of these headlamps is a great option, because as you look back there, you have to look through this grill, and you gotta kind of get your eyes lined up just right, and any amount of light that you can get in there to help you is gonna be beneficial. Now, underneath, there's some wiring harnesses there that can, you can potentially unplug and get your hand in from the back side. But if not, you're going to have to come in from over here and reach all the way forward. This part was easy. This is where it's bare. We only have 2 screws and a plug between us and that blend door actuator. And this is where curse words come into handy. I promise you that. So come on over. Let's take a look and see where it's at. Okay, as we're looking through the grill here, right here's your blend door actuator. I can get my hand right there and I can touch it, and that's easy. Remember, we have 2 screws that we need to undo. One's right down there, and the other one is on the back side over there. That's the part that makes it difficult, because you can't easily get in there. Here are the tools I got. The first one is a little, it's a thumb driver, so you can turn your fingers to help unscrew something. It's not ratcheting. I wish I could get a ratcheting, but I do have a ratcheting little mini screwdriver here, so we're going to give that a shot as well. To be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work, but we're about to find out. All right, I'm sorry if there's any audio issues. My microphone's over there charging, but I'm close enough to my phone. I don't think it's going to make a big difference. So as you're looking into here, you're going to see wires that are in the way and things like that. You want to move everything you possibly can out of the way to make room for trying to access that backside screw. This wire right here is your radio antenna wire. I'm just going to tuck that up there to get it out of the way for now. That keeps it clean out of my way. I have the radio plug-in wire there. That one can just get tucked down. And then we have a loose little black wire there that you can move around and get it out of your way as necessary. So before I go any further, I just want to point out that, remember when I told you had 3 blend door actuators? Here's the 3rd one. That one is the most accessible, easy to get to, and makes it for an easy change. So I'm not going to actually pull that one out and reinstall it. You can see how that goes. It is fairly straightforward. All of these blend door actuators are the same part number, so if you buy 1 or 3, they're all interchangeable, so that works out well for you. Now coming back over here, you can see there is no room to work. So if you're a person that has either club hands or meat hooks for fingers, this is going to be an extremely tough job for you. You might want to enlist some help from maybe one of your kids or somebody that has small hands that can get in there. I've already removed the first screw that was right here at the bottom side of the actuator. If you recall from the driver's side, there's 2 screws and they're kind of opposite caddy corners. So the second one I need to get to is going to be behind this, and I can't even barely get my hand back in there to get it. So remember, I just showed you those 2 tools that I bought. I already realized that this screwdriver is not going to work because there's no way that's going to get in there and have enough room to get into that screw, let alone turn it. So another option might be this one right here, which is the thumb. It's not a ratchet anything, but it's just a thumb drive. So I can use this, and the nice thing about this is if this screw bit is too big, I can come back in here and install a shorter one, and that'd be nice. And then if that doesn't work, then this bit right here, you can put that in on this drive, and it's a standard 1/4-inch drive. And then I could put on a smaller socket to see if that works. So I'm gonna have a couple different, or a few different things I can do with this to either make it shorter or longer to give me the best access. I just don't know which one it's gonna be yet, or if it'll even work. So I'm gonna go screw around with this for a little bit and let's see what happens. This combination right here is the ticket. It's the small thumb driver. Again, this doesn't ratchet, but you get that little socket extension. You put that on there with a little 7mm socket. I can get in there, so by sitting where I'm at, and believe me, you're gonna want something to pad your knees down there. But if you come in through this way here, you can fit your hand back in there. You can feel the screw at the tip of your fingers. You're trying to set that socket on it. The hardest part, and I still haven't got it broke free yet, but this is the only way I'm gonna get my hand in there to do this. The hardest part is breaking that screw free. It's torqued down pretty good. I've tried twisting. My grip strength's pretty good. I'm surprised I'm not able to break that yet, but this is gonna be the way to do it. Like right now I have it on there, and I'm struggling trying to get that to break free. Once you get that screw loose, I think it'll be easy to come out. We just have to find a way to break that initial tightness of the screw. Once it's loose, it'll come out and it'll be easier. All right, I got it. I got the screw loose. I'm undoing it now. Oh my God, my fingers are so tired. Still got to get this thing out of here. So now that the screws are out, we'll see which way it comes out. And of course, it's up against another thick wire loom, so we're gonna have to finagle this thing out of here. All right, this is what it looks like with the blend door actuator removed. You can see how little room you have to work in there. This wiring harness here might butt up against your radio antenna. So if you bend your radio antenna thing out of the way, you can move this one just a little bit, and that will help you get the old one out, the new one in. I have the new blend door actuator installed. You got to be really careful here, because if that wheel is not set to where it needs to be, these indexing tabs here don't align, and you could be off by a spoke or a tooth. It's really you're just going to experience it when you do it. Make sure this part slides into the blend door smoothly, otherwise you can end up breaking something. So I had to screw around with it for a little bit. Everything's lined up now. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna put in my lower screw almost all the way, but not quite, and that will make sure this thing stays in place while I try to fish that other screw on the back side. Don't forget to plug this in before you move it all the way back. I'm not sure how hard that would be to do after the fact, but once you get those two screws in, you're done. You just got to put everything back together on your way out. So I'm going to get those two screws in, and we'll get this thing finished up. All right, this is one of the worst jobs I think I've ever done. This thing is such a pain in the butt. Now you know why it's so expensive to have it done at the dealer. This thing is crazy. The one thing I will promise you is at the end of doing this, you will become an expert on how to change out your blend door actuators.